Good evening and welcome to Smart Entrepreneurship Decoded on Transcontinental Times. Today we are joined by a very, very eminent personality. I was very pleasantly surprised and very happy to be introduced to her through a colleague, Rupa Dash. She is a multifaceted personality, if I may say so. She's the CEO of the World Women Foundation. She leads a lot of efforts on the women empowerment side. She leads a lot of efforts on the funding side when it comes to entrepreneurs. She's trying to solve some of the largest challenges in the world through innovation, education, and creativity. She was the first Indian American managing director of the world's largest women's entrepreneurship network. And the sheer breadth of what she has done, apart from the awards she has won, and apart from all the uh, qualifications she has from the education side, is remarkable. I'm very happy to have her on the show tonight. And without further ado, I'll welcome Rupa. Rupa, welcome to the show. So nice of you to find the time so early in the morning in Los Angeles.
Thank you so much, Nalin. It is a pleasure to meet with you. And I have also heard incredible things about you from a common friend, and delighted to be here speaking to you and to the audience of Transcontinental Times.
So, Rupa, let's just start with how your own journey has been shaped and how you got into so many various sites, right? You've been in media with some of the largest companies in the world. You also lead a company in that area. You lead the Women's World Women Foundation. How has your own journey been that it's got you till here? And I know now pursuing a doctoral degree. So, is it the natural curiosity that keeps various things going, or was there some seminal event that got you into this?
Well, my journey comes from very humble background from a small city in Orissa, which is called Cuttack. And
Hmm.
as you may know, and I know that you have traveled there a few times, so you understand from where I come from. So pretty much it was never a priority in my family for first of all girls to get education, and forget about education. Even if you get education, the only expectation there is you will end up getting married to somebody who owns a truck or who's a truck driver. That's the best opportunities that were presented to me while I was growing up. But of course, my mother did play an important role in that, and not only breaking stereotypes, but also breaking stereotypes, my self-perceived stereotypes, societal stereotypes, and various other things that I had to overcome to find myself in situations, not situations, but rather opportunities which I really wanted to see myself there. My career has expanded from marketing to entrepreneurship, to consulting, to leading organizations, to building movements. So many things I have experienced and I've done, and I enjoy doing that because you cannot put an individual into a box. And I don't see myself in a box. If I see and hear, or if I understand a thing, I try to experiment and experience it and see how far we can take an idea to a finishing line. And I think that's what I'm known for. And secondly, I started my career with advertising companies such as Gray, and Euro RSCG, Lintas. There are many companies that I worked with in India. And again, it was my passion to work in media. But while working in media, I felt like there is something more that I can do, just to be not to be working in a large corporation, playing a part, getting clients, serving clients. We all enjoy that at one phase, but I saw myself more than that. So, at some point, I decided that I will go ahead and present my ideas to the largest telecom company in India and also in Asia, which is BSNL.
Hmm.
And that's how I understood what is it to become, to be like an entrepreneur. So the idea was how to market the 3G technology and the usage of cell phone and content to farmers in India. and I worked very closely with the Minister of Telecommunication, BSNL, and other external stakeholders to bring this to life. And which is why I was the youngest person to be represented at the International Telecom Union. And that's where I really got the taste of, like, you can be a marketing person, you can be a communication person, you can be an image consultant, but you can be an entrepreneur, and you can see a problem and can solve a problem using the power of your creativity and combine them with your business expertise and bring in the community, bring in other expertise that are necessary, and you can really solve a problem. So almost, marketing, you come from a technology background, you know how much resistance is always there when it is a new technology, how much users are apprehensive, or how much they are resistant to use something new. So, how do you combine education, entertainment, and empowerment, put it all together, and bring this new technology to actually the largest group in India, which are the farmers? And now we see that, you know revolution, and I'm super proud. That's where my journey really started.
Fantastic. Education, empowerment, and entertainment. I will remember that. So, Rupa, just tell me something. You spoke about breaking stereotypes and molds, and especially the ones women have to face. You spoke about your humble background, but did it surprise you that even when you live in America or Europe, they
Yes.
also have barriers like this? It may be a different level, it may be for different things, but women face challenges of different kinds all over, and it's not what would a normal Indian woman would think of, say, in America or Europe.
Yeah, to my surprise, yes. Actually, when I moved to United States because I got married, and suddenly I became a housewife overnight. And that's where I realized, what kind of, self-perceived, my stereotype started kicking in. Of course, that was a personal challenge that I had to overcome, but more so when I started, building my community, making new friends, and meeting other women that I saw them as role models. The more I got to know them, they had similar struggles, such as, a woman, applying for jobs. Maybe they are the most qualified in the room, or within the talent pool, but still they will, even before applying, we would procrastinate and think about, all the different things. How am I going to manage my time, how am I going to manage my kids, how am I going to manage the time for myself? Or, if I'm not married, then I would be thinking about how I would spend some time finding a partner, which is a big challenge in the Western world. So you have to really carve out time for everything, but, putting really your dream and your ambition behind everything else, and making plans for everyone, making everybody else happy. So I thought this is a global phenomenon. This is not just
Yeah.
in India or Asia, but this is a challenge worldwide women face.
So, Rupa, you said it rightly. It is a global phenomena, and one of the manifestations of that pre-pandemic was the Me Too movement. I don't mean to trivialize the whole women's movement, but that was something
Hmm.
that caught the imagination of the world. And even in societies which we could say, from a women's perspective, were more regressed or more suppressed,
Hmm.
there were sounds and noises like India and everywhere else. Then came the pandemic.
Hmm.
It not only hit the world in a health crisis, but it also hit that movement. Do
Hmm.
you think that movement took a hit, and we just lost the plot after that?
Well, it of course, yes, but also it brought into spotlight several aspects to the Me Too movement: domestic violence,
Hmm.
and people started talking about mental health, well-being of women in their own households. That became a center stage conversation, because I think Me Too movement have been, it's a very important movement, but the pandemic, as I said, it brought in other opportunities where we were not focusing on. Like, as an employee, if I go and tomorrow I go and say that I'm facing abuse at my home, what an employer can do for me? There was no such environment where you could go clearly and speak your mind. I think the pandemic really presented unique opportunities for companies, corporations to think about the well being of their employees, not just within the boundaries of their corporations, but beyond that. I
Yeah,
think that's good because there is tremendous of economic impact if you don't have a healthy employee mentally, physically, feeling secure at home. How do you think they will bring the best to the work? I think it did definitely take a hit on Me Too movement, but more so the opportunity that it brought was for the Fortune 500 companies, larger, smaller companies, to be more supportive of women beyond their corporate
that's
jobs,
true.
seeing them more as humans who are facing challenges and making this a mainstream
Yeah.
conversation.
You make an important point because there is definitely greater sensitization and acceptance, right?
Mhm,
Before the pandemic, I would almost think it unthinkable to go to my boss and say I want a day off because I need a break from mental issues, or I just
yeah,
want for the well-being or for the family.
mhm,
But today those things are more accepted, and that's one good side of the pandemic. Now
yeah.
we'll
And
stay.
in fact, employers now have to present these things. Sorry, go ahead.
True. So before I move to the entrepreneurship side of things, just one last question. Now you lead the world's this
Mhm.
50,000 worldwide women's
Mhm.
foundation. What are your current priorities? I mean, what are you trying to drive towards as the top agenda or top one or two items right now?
I think War Women Foundation's global mission is to create 1 million female heroes by 2030. And we do that in five different ways. First of all, we provide access to capital. I think that's
Hmm.
that's key, because women entrepreneurs are the capital catalyst in the world, and to really accelerate women's economic growth and empowerment, it is critical to invest in women, and that can truly create an inclusive future. And the other important thing as a foundation, one of the most critical priorities for us to bring in, make and create and to expand opportunities for women, small business owners, and create a global marketplace and expand the again economic opportunities globally. So, bringing more commerce opportunities to small business owners around the world, female business owners around the world is very critical to us. And we also have a media division which is specifically focuses on creating content that again breaks stereotypes, the roles that women are playing. This is part of our research, which is understanding the impact of digital role models, real life digital role models on women's perception of what role they would like to play in the future. So yeah, content creation, micro storytelling, expanding our micro storytelling platform to break stereotypes is again, one of our key priorities as a foundation.
Fantastic. Now, one of the points you made when you were speaking about your own background was how I would put it as you're eternally curious to explore different sides of your personality
Mm-hmm,
and look at different, and not be typecast into one area,
mm-hmm,
but you look at various problems, various things, and you try to uh, explore them.
mm-hmm,
How important is it for entrepreneurs, be eternally curious? Because you hear these words bandied about, right? Growth
mm-hmm.
mindset, entrepreneurial mindset, etc. But does it start with just basic curiosity?
I think it starts basically by nurturing your creativity. I think every individual does have a creative. We are creative humans.
Mhm.
Human beings are creative. Creativity is our superpower. But oftentimes, as we are growing up, and specifically, if like backgrounds like mine, our creative being is never nurtured. It's not watered. It's not something that is encouraged to pursue. And I think that's where we lose our potential as being more curious, exploring new things, experience new things, building new things, and co-creation, and building. I think the world's best communities are built around creativity. I think that's something I'm very fortunate I was able to do, but it all starts with embracing your creativity.
So, even pre-show, we were speaking about the fact that you're on a mission to create $1 billion fund for women entrepreneurs. Now, so far, the statistics are not in favor of
Mhm,
women entrepreneurs being funded. They get a minuscule amount compared to men.
mhm,
What exactly explains this? I mean, there are enough women entrepreneurs now, but
mhm.
somehow the investors don't seem to back them.
I think, again, I will come back to the pandemic because as we are moving towards a global reset, there is a change of mindset, heart, and also the way we look at entrepreneurship, not just looking through the lens of gender, but what's happening around the world. Women are quitting jobs in record number, and we are talking about the great resignation as well. And Fortune 500 companies or small, big, they're posting jobs, but there are no applicants. Even if they're getting applicants, they want flexibility. They want their terms to be heard. They want their well-being to be their priority. And also, making work-life balance not anymore a side conversation, again, a center stage conversation. And because of these new kind of future, the new kind of work that we are seeing, there is exponential opportunity for women to start businesses. And this is the first time, especially in the United States, women are starting businesses 4 times faster than we have seen in last 20 years.
Wow.
And specifically, women who have always considered themselves as creatives, considered themselves passionate about something, and also they were doing the business but as a side hustle, but it's no more their side hustle. They are taking their business to the next level, which is also pushing them to think about where they can find the most support in terms of capital, coaching, and community. And that's where the venture funds are no more the only place women are looking for funds to accelerate their growth. There are plenty of organizations such as us who are providing all this that a woman needs to be successful in business. You know, we did a survey and we found out 72% of female founders find, one of the most important barriers of starting business is lack of mentors and coaches. Even before, forget about, access to capital. While you're just thinking about starting your business, you have some sort of an idea what your business will look like. First thing they look for, not for money, but for advice and mentorship and that community that they can go back and ask questions which they won't be able to otherwise do. So I think I think there are tremendous amount of focus is now on building communities, building educational platforms, building knowledge resources that are necessary to even empower women in much more bigger ways because funding is an issue, but they are, you know, philanthropists who are putting together large grants, and organizations such as us and many others who are willing to invest and take a bet even on women entrepreneurs who have least experience but have a good idea and want to show
That's
up
true.
and have taken the leap and left their day job and starting their business.
That's true. The pandemic has, had those positive impacts. I see it myself in some of the various projects we do, where we ask donor companies to come and fund and to upskill teachers, upskill disadvantaged communities. And
Mm-hmm.
I definitely see a different thinking and approach
Mm-hmm.
when we go to people now versus pre-pandemic. But I was surprised when you said the women are setting up companies 4 times more in numbers than pre-pandemic. And I agree with you 100%. It's mentors that are more important than money
Mm-hmm.
initially. But let's just probe that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
When when you look at a company to invest in or to invest in from on behalf of fund,
Mm-hmm.
what do you look for first?
What is the problem that they are trying to solve? And
Okay.
of course, your the personal story is very important because we are not traditional venture funds. We are
Yeah.
investing in an individual with a great story who is passionate, who is trying to solve a problem, and can really show the blood on the floor. And that's very important. And most importantly, how much they have invested in their own idea, whether it is time, resources, and what is the potential of this idea to scale, and can we measure that scale? And most importantly for us as a fund, it is very important what kind of problem they are solving.
So, connected to that, you speak about the Great Reset, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of the Great Reset is happening in Asia, which also has the highest populations, fastest growing economies. Any specific opportunities or any specific things of the reset that catches your eye?
I think yes. I mean, of course, work and well-being is one thing that it's now a conversation everywhere you go. Mental health. And I think there is tremendous amount of opportunities in terms of disruption, innovation in that space. And that could be that deserves funding, and that deserves spotlight, and that deserves innovators to be nurtured. This is the most important issues in my mind. I think how can we work? How can we economically stable, and at the same time not compromising on our well-being? Because just in America, $64.5 billion is lost because of the impact of when women are not participating in the workforce. Either it is due to work, or they're leaving just because of well-being issues. I mean, $64.5 billion of loss is huge. So I think there is tremendous amount of potential in the work and well-being space, and specifically talking about women's health. It's unique, it's different. I think there is significant risk um, that women's health, um, you know, whether it's the rate of heart diseases are increasing among women, specifically due to the pandemic. The amount of double duty, triple duties that women have had to do, and living in small spaces, the way we are building our cities, the way people have access to their personal space, I think this also have tremendous of impact. So I think especially in Asia, I think people will start thinking about how to build cities that really puts well-being of individuals who are living on the top priority, and also creating sustainable ways to live, to think about the planet, to think about the people who live in those cities, to think about how we are. It's not just about I need a desk in a corner just to work. I'm a human being, I have family. And how can we how can we think about stress, health, well-being as an important economic indicator if we want to become a superpower globally, and create a sustainable planet, and also leave a good planet for the next generation?
True. We often live on the planet as if we are the last generation living on it, right? So,
Exactly.
but you speak about innovation, creativity, and that leads me to a natural area, another area where you're very passionate about, which is education. Now, innovation and creativity from the part of the world that you come from, I come from, is not exactly in our curriculums, not exactly there.
Hmm.
And yet, we see this large number of edutech companies trying to peddle different solutions to the same population of students. Sometimes it just seems like torture, right?
Yes.
uh, that all this is being thrown at students without them even asking for it. In any
Hmm.
business you start, you first ask the client or potential client what they want.
Hmm.
In edutech, student is never on the table for the discussion.
Hmm.
What's your view on what's happening or what needs to be done for innovation in education?
This is a great question. I'm very passionate about it because I also serve on the judging panel of Code to Call for educational innovation, which is part of the
Mhm.
Clinton Foundation. And I have seen tremendous amount of growth and solutions that are really coming from Latin America. But before I speak there, I would like to set the tone here. It's not about education, it's about thinking about what is happening around the world.
Mhm.
There is mass migration is happening, not just because of people are trying to move from one place to other for finding good economic opportunities or work or job, but also um, we will find more and more climate refugees. We will see more and more families being displaced due to wars and different kinds of violences. And also the pandemic has also created mass migration. So the way I look at the education space and the innovation is the approach that we are taking is not in the right direction, because of mass migration, you cannot create solutions that is just created for a set of audience who can have access to, who can afford, who can speak a certain language, who come from a certain demographic. And that's where we are going wrong. And we are again doing the same thing. Schooling, you know what I mean by schooling? It's like wearing the same uniform. It's like creating laborers who can do the same thing over and over again, right? And there is no such innovations cannot nurture creative minds, which is what we are supposed to do, right? And and that's why it is very important to take into consideration, if there are if these kind of mass migrations are happening, then are we truly speaking to the experience, the background that these kids are coming from? If that's not the case, then we are not doing the right thing. There are many platforms that are doing really great, teaching from coding to other things. Again, it's like creating again a bunch of laborers who can do same thing again and
True.
again. Just repetition of same activity, but to really spark new ideas, new ignite new kind of thinking, taking on audacious goals. It takes it takes a different kind of thinking to build educational platforms that are truly democratic in nature, that are truly disruptive in nature, and that can truly serve everybody in some way, can really spark and really truly serve the purpose of education.
That's true. The pandemic also brought in a lot of technology into education, which kind of created more of a disparity, the haves
Yeah,
and have-nots.
yeah.
You need a smartphone, you need a laptop. But that aside, we've spoken a lot tonight about well-being during the pandemic and people
Hmm.
thinking about mental health as an issue.
Hmm.
What about children who've been locked away for 2.5 years?
Hmm.
Uh, in all this narrative, uh,
Hmm.
do we tend to give more importance to the adults and forget the mental well-being of the children because they have a less
When
voice?
I talk about mental well-being and the reimagination that we need to
Hmm.
create space
Hmm.
where we spend, whether it's our homes or offices or beyond, I think I'm talking about the well-being of everybody, including the children in this case. And I'm a mother of a 9-year old. Because of the pandemic, we started living in parks and we were isolated. It kind of more than 2 years, in fact. So these kids are experiencing more than we could imagine. They don't want to meet a lot of people, and there is a sense of the social growth of an individual is also taken a back seat, which needs a lot of work.
We're completely out of time. It has been fascinating speaking to you, but I won't leave you without one last question. So you're really trying to solve some of the big issues, and you're targeting it in various facets of society and various areas.
Mm.
Over the next 3 to 5 years, which one will give you the most satisfaction when you achieve it?
I think providing access to education to girls is something very close to my heart, and I think if we can provide education to girls, we can really transform the society, and overall, it's all about the well-being of the world. I think girls deserve to have equal access to education.
Rupa, it has been absolutely fascinating speaking with you. I, I thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I think your journey has just started. Hearing you and speaking to you, with you about the vision and the sheer breadth and depth of what you want to do, I really wish you the very best. And any which way that I can be part of that journey, I'll be happy to contribute.
Thank you so much, Nalin. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you, and have a
talking.
good day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.